here today. I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about exactly what Jillian mentioned, the people that are affected by this debate and people whose lives are really affected by this upcoming decision by the federal government. So I'm going to elaborate on a few points that have been raised from my own experience as a social scientist working in the downtown east side. I hope to provide an on-ground view of how Insite influences the street-based injecting scene in Vancouver. I'm going to speak about the findings of some ethnographic research that we conducted in the neighborhood. This is basically the results of interviews with drug users as well as insight gleaned from direct observations of people using drugs in the streets, alleyways, as well as inside the supervised injection facility. So as has been noted, Vancouver's very large and very open drug scene is infamous internationally. And in cities where public spaces are used for the purpose of injecting drugs, concerns regarding community safety and public order frequently focus on street-based illicit drug use. So drug-related disorder plays a prominent role in prompting fears regarding the livability of communities. And public injecting scenes are often regarded as a nuisance and a threat by the general public. So I need to say a few words at this point in time about the health impacts of public injecting. Drug users who frequently inject in public have been found to display increased risk for abscesses, injection-related infections, vein damage, syringe sharing, and overdose, as well as hepatitis C infection. And I just need to pause at this point in time to emphasize that in Vancouver, the #1 reason that people that inject drugs are going to the hospital or the emergency room is soft tissue infections like abscesses. These are things that are preventable, but they're largely caused by the unhygienic conditions in which people are injecting and unsafe injection practices. And this really connects with our conversation about insight and supervised injection. So these public injection settings in Vancouver are really alleyways, streets, and parks. And paying attention to how these settings mediate risk serves to highlight how the establishment of safer injecting environments like Insite can serve to stem the harms associated with public injecting as well as injection drug use in general. So talking to people that inject drugs in these kind of spaces in the alleyways in Vancouver, like Darcy was talking about earlier, it's really a situation of extreme risk and despair a lot of times. One person I interviewed remarked that I think the alley is probably the worst place to do it. Other people have emphasized the sense of fear that may accompany the health risks of injecting in these alleyways. And these are really high-risk situations for people. They're not only worried about trying to get their injection done and do it in a safe way to protect their health. They're also worried about being robbed or assaulted by other people that are present on the street. They're also worried about confrontations with police at the point of injecting as well. So these situations, the social context of outdoor injection settings really does a lot to impede individual ability to employ safer injecting practices. So this threat of street violence and arrest encourages rushed injecting and the adoption of the most expedient injection practices possible. So the point of what I'm saying is really to emphasize that Insite provides an alternative to these conditions for people who inject drugs, particularly those individuals that are homeless. Since its establishment, Vancouver's supervised injection facility has been found to have improved public order in the vicinity of the facility by reducing the levels of public injecting occurring, as well as reducing the volume of injection-related debris in the area. So that's things like discarded syringes. And Dr. did a great job emphasizing this in his summary of the evaluation. The injection site has attracted high-risk injectors and facilitated a reduction in high-risk injecting practices as well. So it's been very effective in addressing the problems that is set out to target. But there's some problems related to the coverage and the impact of the facility because it is such a small-scale pilot study or pilot facility. So we have a facility, as you saw depicted, with 12 booths. There's space for 12 people there. There's approximately 600 people injecting within the injection site within Insite every day. The problem is that this is approximately 10 or 15% of the injections that are going on in the neighborhood. So the supervised injection facility can't accommodate all of the people that would like to use it or that would like to inject within its doors. So these problems of coverage are a reflection of the unwillingness of policymakers to move beyond tightly controlled, small-scale pilot studies of supervised injection sites. I just really need to emphasize that these problems of coverage are nothing to do with unwillingness on the part of injection drug users to use these facilities. As I pointed out, people have really accepted this facility and it's really used to almost of its capacity. So it's my perspective that the alternate setting for injecting provided by Insite displays great potential to address factors within public injection settings that impede individuals' capacity to adopt safer injecting techniques. The perspectives of people that are using the supervised injection site, using Insite, indicate that the facility enables less rush injecting, as well as enhancing individual ability to employ safer injecting practices. So really what people are saying for them is that the site provides them with safety, with a safe place to be. And this is really something that's rare for people that are surviving on the streets, and they really pointed to how important this is to them in the conversations that I've had with them. So I should just take a moment to point out my reasons for speaking at length about the hazards of public injecting. If the federal government does not extend the operation of Insite and the facility is closed in June of this year, we'll undoubtedly see an increase in the levels of public injecting in Vancouver. As Darcy pointed out, there's probably about 18,000 injections that are happening within Insite every month. If the facility is closed, these obviously will be happening somewhere else, and a lot of them are going to be happening outdoors. They're going to be happening on the streets of the downtown east side. So this is going to lead to increased problems, increased health problems amongst people that are injecting drugs, those situations related to public injecting that I was speaking about. And it's also going to lead to further problems in the community. People are the community itself is going to become more concerned with public injection and the visibility of injection drug use and the consumption of drugs in public spaces in the downtown east side. And if the facility actually closes, people that inject drugs will no longer have the option of injecting in a supervised environment off the street. So this is a very important time, and I think it's an important point to reflect on. So if the site is in fact closed in June of this year, we're going to witness the worsening of a public health crisis due to a poor policy decision on the part of our federal government. And I think that would be the message that I would encourage you to take home today. Thank you.